She did so when she was only a little older than Evangeline Coup. I can't believe it was 50 years ago that you started. If you think what's happening now.
Our society demands can leave the individual gasping for breath.
A quiet inspection in Queen Camilla's private suite was supposed to be nothing more than routine maintenance, until a hollow knock behind an ornate wall exposed a secret the monarchy never intended to face. Beneath layers of plaster lay a sealed passage untouched for decades, leading to a lone chest bound in iron and royal dust. Inside, not jewels or gold, but something far more dangerous. Handwritten pages carrying the unmistakable voice of Princess Diana. Words of love, betrayal, and warnings, long hidden, now threatened to pierce the carefully guarded image of the crown. Was this simply forgotten history?
3 weeks to live, the best possible feeling of security and understanding.
Or a calculated attempt to bury truths that could shatter the monarchy's fragile unity? Stay with us, because this discovery isn't just about bricks and mortar. It's about a princess who refuses to stay silent, even from beyond the grave. It began as the most ordinary of palace duties, a quiet inspection meant to chase cracks, damp spots, and aging plaster before they became costly repairs. Engineers moved methodically from room to room in Clarence House and Buckingham Palace, their work as invisible as the servants who had maintained these walls for centuries. But inside Queen Camilla's private bedroom, a space fiercely guarded from public view, the mundane gave way to the unthinkable. Behind an opulent tapestry, an inspector's trained eye caught something faint but unmistakable, a seam where none should exist.
It's terrible that after 50 years it still hasn't been eradicated.
At first it seemed harmless, perhaps the natural settling of an ancient building. Then came the sound, a hollow echo when instruments tapped the wall, when scanners returned readings of empty space where blueprints swore there was only solid stone. The atmosphere shifted from routine to electric. Senior security was summoned, protocols tightened. What had started as a routine maintenance check was now a potential royal emergency. Guards sealed the suite, orders were whispered, and every movement was documented. Was it a forgotten chamber? A relic from a bygone monarch? Or something deliberately hidden? A secret walled away by design? Each possibility carried the scent of scandal. Within minutes, what was supposed to be a quiet survey had transformed into a high-stakes investigation, one that threatened to expose not just the architecture of Buckingham Palace, but the hidden architecture of royal history itself. Whatever lay behind that wall wasn't just structural, it was explosive. What the engineers uncovered was no ordinary cavity. It was a ghost from the palace's deepest past. Behind the freshly breached plaster stretched a suffocating corridor, barely wide enough for a grown man to pass. Ancient stone walls, coated with centuries of dust, closed in like a crypt. Cobwebs clung to every corner, and the air hung heavy with the stale scent of a space untouched for generations. Every step forward echoed like a warning, each creak of the floor sounding louder than it should. Palace archives offered no hint of such a structure, no blueprints, no footnotes, not even a whispered rumor. This was not an escape route carved for fleeing monarchs, nor a servant's shortcut. The construction felt deliberate, defensive. More vault than tunnel, a place built to protect or to conceal. And then came the sight that froze the inspection team in their tracks. A single chest waiting at the passage's end. Weathered oak wrapped in blackened iron, its lock thick and unyielding, it sat perfectly centered as if placed by a hand intent on secrecy. No dust trails led to or from it. Whatever rested inside had remained undisturbed, preserved, and possibly dangerous for decades, perhaps centuries. The sound of metal on metal echoed through the narrow passage as crowbars strained against the chest's ancient lock. Each groan of iron felt like a countdown to a revelation no one was ready to face. Senior officers argued in tense whispers. Should it be opened here, in this secret vault, or whisked away to a secure archive before curious eyes learned too much? The debate ended when the lock snapped with a sharp, almost defiant crack, sending a shiver through the stale air. But the chest held no glittering jewels or royal heirlooms. Instead, inside lay bundles of parchment and stacks of leather-bound journals, their ribbons faded but perfectly intact. When the first fragile page was lifted, the handwriting froze the room. Elegant, unmistakable. Princess Diana. These were not the polished speeches or carefully archived letters the world knew. These were raw confessions, private reflections written in moments of solitude, unfiltered, unguarded, and never intended for the public. Every curve of ink carried the weight of a voice silenced too soon, a truth hidden for decades. The monarchy's greatest fear had been realized. Diana's words had survived, and they refused to remain buried. Each page felt like a heartbeat long silenced, now echoing through the narrow stone corridor. The handwriting, graceful yet heavy with emotion, unfolded a world the public only guessed at. Diana wrote of lonely nights in gilded rooms, of smiling through suffocating duty, and of a love story poisoned by betrayal. The shadow of Camilla lingered in nearly every line, not as open accusation, but as an ever-present ache, a ghost haunting her marriage to Charles. Among the journals were letters never sent, delicate notes addressed to "my boys," filled with tender advice and warnings about the very institution they were destined to inherit. Other passages carried a darker chill, reflections on being softened or erased by history, as if she feared her truth would be rewritten once she was gone. These weren't mere diary entries. They were Diana's unfiltered testimony, proof that she sensed the palace might one day bury her story, and that someone, someday, would need to uncover it. Now, hidden for decades and revealed by chance, her voice has returned with a power that no crown can silence. The moment the chest was carried out under heavy guard, Buckingham Palace descended into controlled chaos. Phones lit up, corridors buzzed, and senior staff were summoned to emergency meetings behind locked doors. Confidentiality orders were issued within minutes. Any leak could ignite an international media firestorm. King Charles, insiders say, appeared pale and visibly shaken, pacing as he wrestled with an impossible choice: shield his wife or respect the memory of the woman who still defines the monarchy's heart. Prince William urged careful handling to avoid a scandal that could fracture the crown, while Harry, across the ocean, demanded immediate transparency. No edits, no palace spin. And Camilla? Witnesses describe her as livid and trembling, furious that her most private refuge had become the very stage for Diana's unexpected resurrection. What began as a simple inspection had now exploded into a family crisis threatening to rewrite royal history. From a forgotten seam in a palace wall to a chest of words that cut sharper than any sword, Diana's spirit has broken through the silence the monarchy fought to preserve. Her unguarded thoughts, raw, defiant, and heartbreakingly human, now hover over Buckingham Palace like a storm cloud, threatening to rewrite decades of carefully polished royal history. Was this chest hidden to protect the dignity of the crown, or to bury a truth too dangerous to face? Did someone long ago fear that Diana's voice, once unleashed, would forever shift the balance of power inside those gilded halls? What do you believe? Should these revelations be shared with the world or locked away to keep the monarchy from splintering? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Because if one hidden wall can expose a secret explosive, imagine how many more still wait in the shadows of the palace.